So when I was like in school and different stuff, and I was a real youngster, right? I really struggled academically, like to be able to just master spelling, reading, and writing. And if I could master the spelling to a degree, um, it was really difficult to read what I had written
Mhm.
down, and I missed a lot of marks because of it. Not saying that it's right nor wrong, nothing like that. No, no, no. And then one teacher, I believe his name was Mr. White, Mr. Whitelock or Mr. White. I don't remember fully. Um, he had this thing called a transparent greeny colored. He had lots of stuff actually. Oh, loads. We had these little robots that you could make go around the room by typing in a load of programming it. Yes, and it would move maneuver on these squares, and you could get it to go anywhere you wanted. Really, technically, remote control car, but you had to tell it where to go. It was really fun. But another one was this transparent e-mate. I think it was called an e-mate, something like that. It's a computer, in a way, that had a spell checker on it, and I knew what I wanted to say, but when it come to writing it, that type of I get laden with headaches, like just, and then you need glasses and stuff, so I had the glasses, but it didn't really stop the headache or the fact that yeah, I just didn't get it right. I wasn't a duck to water in that. You get me to pull apart a piece of equipment somewhere and look through the electronics and find a problem. I got that. That I got. So I had talent, but it just wasn't this whole writing thing, and I just felt so restrained and so restricted from that when I got the chance to use this e-mate, if you want to call it that,
Mhm.
I started to write with it. And what's more is it. I remember the tutor coming and saying to me like these underline words. What is it you're trying to say? And I say this word, blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
And he would say, okay, now click it. And I did, and it dropped down with this very standard, basic, but didn't matter. It really didn't. It was, to me at the time, it was revolutionary. To be fair,
Mhm.
it had the word that I wanted there,
Yeah.
and it sort of helped. I think the more today, I sort of am able to pick that out a bit quicker. But if it shows me a picture next to it,
Mhm.
I mean, if you ever get a keyboard that can show you a little symbol,
Yeah.
like if you're trying to spell football, I know not everything can be done this way.
Yeah.
But if it shows you a football next to the word, man, I get it. I could probably talk more better in pictures with words, and if I pick the pictures, I'd probably be able to write a lot better. And as I began to get this computer, he could read it, and for once in my life, the computer. This is why I love technology so much. In that aspect, it freed me. It freed me to be able to communicate, and douche, I got a good grade. Not for very long because it was like a big to do in, especially here in the UK. It was absolutely not accepted that children were to use computers or rely on computers as much. Now everybody has mobile phones, and again, being able to say something into it, I do try and challenge myself by writing stuff out. I might have to close an eye to do it or to read something. It's quite challenging still to this day, but I can do it to a degree. But whether I'm focusing on what that actually means, there's another side of the coin entirely. But if it reads it to me and I don't get a word there, I can then look it up and then find the meaning to it. In that moment, whether I'll retain that meaning and that word is another story altogether, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel that it's relevant to retain it if the computer remembers it for you. What is the point?
Yeah.
Because it just seems more logical to fill your head up with stuff that is more relevant to you at the time, rather than that one word that I might only use that one time in this one scenario. I find that it would be irrelevant to retain that information. What's the point if it's just one time I'm going to use it? Now, I might use it a few times.
Yeah.
So then I might start to learn that in that aspect. And it's not a choice as such. It's just that when you use a word over and over and over and over and over and over, you then begin to become familiar with it, right?
Yeah.
So the old way with a dictionary, right? that someone would give me a dictionary. Oh my days, it was terrible. I couldn't spell a word, but they wanted me to use the dictionary to find the word that I was looking for that I couldn't spell. And if I couldn't spell it, I didn't understand the meaning to it either. So to try and even look up the meaning and read other words in the meaning, it didn't work for me. And then somebody gave me a dictionary that was absolutely brilliant. It was Amanda, and I didn't find this until I was, what, 18? Kind of a long time, right?
Yeah.
And it had pictures in it. Not all of them were pictures, or symbols as was another one as well. And associating words or different things with symbols or pictures. I could see the picture, doosh, I got the text. It helped. It was a step up. But, you know, a little keyboard on Google or something along these lines that would show you a lot of symbols and icons. And if language were to associate or apply a symbol to each word, I think this would help a small minority of individuals. It would give them a bit more freedom to be able to communicate, and if they were able to write in that aspect on the computer, their grades might be just as equal as somebody else's grades, if you like. And what's more, it will give the teacher a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, to be able to see inside their mind, to see what they're saying. Because, you know, I once remember, and it's not because I'm whinging about it, it's more like trying to shine a light on myself in a way to sort of free other people that are in this situation, which I believe they are. I'm not the only one. There's many other people like it, but it's just not a larger number. It's not it's not like a majority. It's more like a minority that is a bit this way. And I think it will unlock them that they could be writing something, and they know what they mean at the time, but because they can't read back their own writing in a way that is, you'd think they would, but not it's not like that. And you put your time and effort into that, and then you sort of have to really rely on your memory as to what that scribble means. Because you spelt it the way it sounds because you've been taught that way, and then it's not quite right. And then it's just it's the mess of just, even for somebody else to look at that, it's like, whoa, what the hell is that? And then you might get an F. But if you were to write it how you think it is, and then write it on a computer immediately after, and then allow the teacher to mark this work, they'll give you an F. Then give them the laptop. This is what Mr. Whitelock did. And he stepped off of me a lot. He's very clever in that way. Because there's a lot of punishments given out that you're this, you're that, it's just because you don't want to or whatnot.
Because you cannot.
But you are a child trying to talk and communicate, but not in a way that is with verbal. It's more in a written format, and you're not there when you give your book to be marked. You've gone home. The teacher may have taken this home or stayed late after school to mark all of this, and tick, 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 and then they come to yours, and it's sort of a bit, what the hell is that? F. Next one. Underline these words in different. Yours would be the whole thing underlined. And again, you could be punished, and they don't mean to. They want you to do best. They want you to do good. They want you to achieve, because that's their job. So when he did it side by side one particular time, he was really, he was much advanced in a way that he was more in today's world with computers everywhere. He get me to write one down and then write it down on a computer, and one he marked, and I had to write it identically inside the eMate. And when I did, he marked me as an like an F on this one, but a B on this one. And then he just sort of tapped me on the back and just nodded at me. I knew what that meant. Well, I believe I know what that meant. He didn't need to say any words in that moment. It was just sort of a eyes shut sort of, I get you. I get you. And there was this big debate go off about whether children should be allowed to use this even back then. I mean, this is... I was in quite a young school in this time, so... And yeah, there was this debate go off, and it was like that they were going to introduce this sort of idea, but it never got done because the reliance on a computer was not.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm sort of quite falling behind in exams and different things. And when I took my exams and GCSEs, I didn't really understand it. Not really going to sit there and get hung up on it.
Yeah.
Because I taught myself something else with this Mr. Whitelock. Mr. White, I think his name was. I can't remember it fully, right? Doesn't matter. I'm not going to get hung up on it. But I had one of my exams where someone read it to me, would read it to me, and then I would answer what I felt the question said to me with it being read. What I understood from that, I got no help other than it being read to me, and then I gave the answer verbally, and then this one lady wrote it down for me, which would have been Miss Dawson. And I think she was quite concerned that a lot of my GCSEs were coming back pretty damn bad. And I didn't feel they were bad, because what I had said was what, you know, was being said that was the wrong answer, but because someone couldn't read it was the problem.
They didn't bother.
Well, it's not that they didn't bother. I think that it was just sort of, I don't know. And then the one that they did do this to, I got about a C. But all the rest were like F's and E's, if you want to call it that. Oh, well, whatever. Yeah, so I feel it's really important. Like, and technology then really had it gripped me in those moments. And then I knew that it wasn't their fault and it isn't my fault. There's just there's a bit in the middle to be had. So I would like to think that today's technology, I hear kids get pads and they get this, and it's such a great feeling for me, because it's unlocking a lot of children, right? That are perhaps dying to show their lotus flower, if you like, but it always appears closed to everybody else, and that's not a nice world to exist in. And that then just, what's the point? You kind of whatever. What is the point in ever actually writing anything? It's quite a challenge, this, and it can be like a mental problem. Maybe it is. And if technology bridges that gap, then there is a medicine already there, you know, and if used wisely. So that then brings me to my next point, right? I make a lot of videos, different stuff, saying different things, and I get quite into it, right? I get really into it. I can appear to be not the most pleasant person at the best of days. I have got a lot. You may as well call me suitcase. And every destination I've been on, you might as well just give me a label for it, right? And I got to spend my entirety of my life removing these labels and trying to change myself. And yeah, I'm up for it, but is it going to be, am I just going to be spending my whole life removing labels and not talking about certain things because I'm too busy distracted removing all of these labels from myself? So then I bring AI back into the equation again, right? So where I'm making a video where I might have had an issue in my past and I get a little bit about it, perhaps I've got a bit of wrath there, or just a little bit of this sort of hot under the collar, or there's an emotional attachment to it, sort of thing. And perhaps it's just my way of just, I don't want to say I'm stuck, but I am stuck in certain aspects, but I'm also quite free in others. And it's not like a one scenario. I shouldn't be judged for all of just this one part over here and then push aside all of this stuff here, because it's not all doom and gloom. It's a little bit of hit and miss. Quite a lot. I got a few things to work on. But I think the important stuff is around sort of relationship building and different stuff like that. And that feels like one of my biggest nemesis. So I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I'm saying that there's a lot to sort in that side of it. And I'd rather focus my attention on that side of it to try and become a better person in that aspect, rather than focusing on all of this big bag. And it is massive, right? Like I said, I'm that suitcase that's been to every part of this world and probably another 17,000 worlds on top of that. And there's a lot of labels here, you know. Ooh, dear. And so I look at that as AI, right?
Yeah.
But what about then if there was this type of AI technology or something that comes from AI that would listen to my video
Yeah.
and have a way of being able to say it in the way that I am saying it or want it to be delivered, but just have such an emotional attachment to it because it's embedded somewhere quite into my past. Now, I'm not saying that I don't want to work on that, but why should I sweat the small stuff when the point is what I'm making? It's that generalized point that is the relevance. But is there an AI type of way, or could it be built or made or created in a way that it listens to my video or takes my document, right? Because I might not be fully PC. I might not go out and stand on a stage somewhere and be live because I'm quite aware of these certain issues that I might have. But could the AI not speak for me, but yes, speak for me, because it can be programmed much more easier than I can program myself. That is for sure, right? You just got to hit a few codes into that. And someone with that ability, that gift to be able to make that robot or AI. And I sort of speak within the AI. And it's, I get you. Right, it should be delivered like, and then it just gets on and delivers the video in this aspect where it's more harmonious, it's more joyous, it's more easier to reprogram that than it is for me to undo a whole lot of bag of issues, right? And it's not that I don't wanna, but if I'm getting fired up in one video because of something, it's also where my passion is as well. It sort of triggers me in a way to sort of get me motivated. And I know that doesn't seem like it, and it really does seem like it's not from an outside perspective, but inside, right, as Tim would say, rest in bitch face, right? You might get rest in bitch face. And perhaps I've got this type of a scenario where it is like more than just rest in bitch face. It's more than like, it's quite a bundle of things. And I get quite fired up by it. And it might also be charging me. I sort of lift when I say that because that's how it feels in me. Something just really, oof. And if I do deal with all of these situations, let's say, that what if I don't get that triggering that is needed to even bother about finding a solution for something in that way, or bringing it to attention in order for a solution to be made for it? Because we're all hung up on the way he's not PC, or he's not this, or she's not this, and she's not PC. And again, how many people are in the dark and choose not to say anything because it might be interpreted wrong, because they might have an emotional response while saying these things. And they might choose to not say it. And then how many breakthroughs, discoveries, or solutions could there be made if it was said to a robot in a way? AI listens to your video, have your rant, it doesn't get seen public, the rant side of it, and then AI translates this into a way that is more PC, that is more what you meant to say, what you know, and it sort of gives you the first refusal if you listen back to it. Yeah, that's it. That's what I mean. This is what I'm saying. But without all of that attitude, but without all of that bitchiness, but without all of that political non-correctness. Wait, is that it? I don't know. We're going with it. You know what I mean? And then it's able to deliver that to the world in a way that is AI and human eye, overall, comes together in a way that then can have this stuff delivered in the way that is accepted. I don't know. Is it just the cheap way out? I don't know. Can it be, or is it sort of the? Because then to get that response through that, from that, back from that, is that a part of the medicine there? In that then you can see a real positive change from that. That I might not have been, and I'm quite aware that I might not be able to achieve that myself because of the way I say things, or because I am slightly grumpy on this sort of stuff, or I might not be saying it, or it might be offensive to a few, or it might be this, and this. I'm well aware of that. But being able to fix that on the time or at the time will spend a lot of time trying to deal with these situations. And it's never ending, I feel. I feel that that would be quite never. I'm willing to give it a go. And sure, I'll still be giving it a go at the same time. But AI would teach me.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps, what if there's a eureka in this? Oh, I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I'm one of these individuals that is trying to hide behind. No, it's probably because I just don't see it. I don't see it, but this might help me to see it. I don't know, that sounds really weird. I don't expect anybody to get it, to be honest, but I know there might be a small number of people in that actually understand that and what I'm trying to deliver in that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that there might be an eye in it for me in this process that, you know, if these things start to achieve and lots of views and different stuff like that, and there's a plaque, well, me and AI can share a plaque, right?
Yeah.
Me and AI can get some revenue in some sort of stuff or whatnot, because then someone might say, "Wait, we programmed this. This weren't free, you know." Yeah, okay, then what is there's a half and half sort of in that then, and a sort of give take sort of thing, and inside another give take inside a give take, which then leaves me to be sort of a little bit like that, and but also try and work on myself at the same time. And then yeah, I guess then, you know, I might feel a place in that, and other people might feel a place in that sort of thing that would never get that opportunity otherwise, because they've got to spend a very long time, and it is like you're like being at school again. Here we go again. It's I'm not saying it is not impossible, but it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm quite aware I hold a baggage of stuff. And there's no overnight fix in this. And then what if it's like 10 or 20 years later? Man, I could be hit by a bus tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? This could happen, right? Yeah. So. And then there would have been an awful lot, because we're all hung up on perfection. And we're all hung up on this sort of the way you deliver stuff, because we've all got to be crossing the T's. And we've also got to be dotting the I's, putting the full stops in, and all of that. Because there's multiple ways to say 2. There's a lot of ways to say 4. And if I don't say there and there correctly, there's a lot of no acceptance for people that use the words the way they are, and then they get hung up because it's not academically correct, if you like.
Yeah.
And then you get hung up on that, and then they miss the point because they're too busy hung up on that.
On
4 2 2 2.
On correct spelling instead of the message.
Then there's no comma, and there's no full stop, and then there's
and some people are obsessed with
and
that.
then we miss the point. We miss the generalized point of what that is. I mean, another way to look at it is kind of, but not. I see their point, that they like that sort of perfective world, and that's very good for them, and I like it too. But it's just getting there it's just getting there. It's an awful lot of a workload, and then to remember other tedious stuff elsewhere, which is where my passion more is. That's where it's at. It's over here. It's not that. And their passion is more that. But it's not this stuff over here. And we're talking about an Armageddon, perhaps, let's say. And I might not be coming from a place of love. I might not be dotting all of my I's. I might not be crossing all of my T's. And they're just like, whoo, fuck this. Just, never mind. And then boom, we go extinct. It's extreme, but again, you missed the point because of perhaps you got hung up on this whole sort of where you come from it, you know, and how you are, and so I don't know. Is there something like that? Because I'd be all down for that. I'd be so down for that than nothing at all, right? I would. That's where I sort of would like to think that would be like meeting in the middle. And then if it worked, can this be given to anybody else that's in that might feel surrounded in that way, and sort of Uh, I don't know what the word would be. Is there a type of liberation on that? Like, sort of, just to sort of free him from that sort of thing? I don't know. Maybe it's a big ask. And then maybe it sounds like laziness, or that you just don't want to try, or you don't want to push yourself, or. But there again, you want to push yourself, and I kind of do, but I don't know. I'm a little bit. I don't know. I just find that that's an awful lot of time to do that. Like, and it's going to take up like it's going to occupy most of my life. That I just feel that that's a big thing, and then it's like, when do the demands then stop? Because it wants this, and then it's like hiding behind AI, but then it's like hiding behind Facebook or something like that. You know, we all do that, don't we? We all take pictures of the best moments of the life. And we hide all of the stuff that might not be so great, right? So I think everybody does it in a way. And then to stand out from the crowd, there are two types of individuals, this, and this. And I'm just like, well, I don't know if I fit either of those. I'm somewhere in the middle of that. I'm sort of in the middle of, yeah, I see that to a point, and then I don't see that to a point, and then people will test you and make something more difficult, but at the same time don't want drama, but would create drama to test you, to find out where you come in that. I don't understand that. I don't get it. I don't understand that. I'm not knocking. Please don't take it that way. I just wonder where one drama is not good, but this drama is good because it tests in a way. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I need a bit more time to think about that, and I need a bit more learning before I make an opinion, I think I should say. So I'm just trying to figure out all of this new information for me, that is, and I'm willing to learn some more. So I need more time with that one, I think, just to sort of bring that in and see where that sort of takes me on that journey. So it's a lot to juggle that. It's not that I don't want to, it's just I'm quite aware that is an awful amount to juggle, and for anybody else in that, gee me. But change and things are always possible, so I'll live in hope then, and see where this goes, because I think sort of in life I like to hide behind stuff like that. AI and stuff. I think that would be much more an area to be, sort of thing. And then, yeah, because if you like start going somewhere with a YouTube and different stuff like that, you say one wrong thing, whoosh, that's it. It's over. I'm not saying that you can keep it alive forever, but that's just the wrong thing to say, and that. Oh, I don't know. That can seriously end a lot of stuff, and that's a hell of a gamble, isn't it? That's sort of. I'd much rather it roll into something and then begin to fizzle out naturally in that way. Not to roll into something, say the wrong thing, and drop as quick as you can. Because that type of failing as fast as you can just ain't acceptable to anybody, is it? Is it? Or is it? I don't know. I just find that quite. That's your gamble. That's a gamble in itself, that you might say the wrong thing and then being fearful of saying the wrong thing. Oh, undoubtedly you now said the wrong thing because you were so fearful of saying the wrong thing. Yeah, no. That is something. That is something. You just say one thing that is, and you don't mean it in that way, and it come across in a. Oh my days, that is some responsibility to walk with as a human being, isn't it? That. And it might not have been meant in that way. It was just said in. Gee me, I've seen this before with a lot of people, and they have just gone from top to bottom very quickly, and below bottom as well. So I don't know. That's So again, that is something. But yeah, I'm going to leave this one here because I think it covered it pretty much. But yeah, that whole douche roller coastery type thing, that's a risk. Ooh, that's very big. What happens to someone catching you before that happens, or you know? And then we use the word live. You have only got yourself to guide you in that live moment, and only a few can do that. That's not that's a hell of a road. And then is that about talent then? And then does that shut the door off for other people then? Because there will only be this group here who are allowed to do that or go on live TV and do this sort of stuff because they're so rehearsed in that. I don't know what your background was or what that is that you have or that most other people don't, and where that comes from would be a blessing to know it, wouldn't it? To be able to teach it to many other people so that they would be able to operate from that sort of system, that build up in the mind, right? And sure, that's a lot to do to unlearn something to relearn something. And again, that statistic is like small, isn't it? I think I know that in my heart of hearts, that is a small, where some people may have just been taught away a proven process and just learnt that. They didn't learn all of the tidbits in between that to then have to unlearn to relearn and then keep dibs on the unlearning, like that constant, keep those bits away from you as much as possible. And that seems like one massive challenge there in itself, and that's interesting. But is there room for this being sort of changed? Because I wouldn't ever do live. No, damn me, I was just so nervous to say anything. Like I could get it like sort of pre-recorded, yeah, cool. And then it's sort of like pressure's on. Well, you read from a teleprompter and stuff. Yeah, I think I would need to. Yeah, it would already be prescripted for me, you know? I'd script it myself, right? Is this okay? Yeah, that sounds about all right, you know? Okay, and then it's who you're going to trust in that to say that stuff there is all okay. And then would I be able to read it fully? I'd have to listen to it. Let's say this, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, this, and this. And then sort of say this. This is very good. Okay, this, and this. I find that a lot more, maybe it'd be like Google reading it to me. So, and one more I will touch upon, and then that is it. So, driving theory, right? Where you read these questions, yes, and then you have to give an answer, multiple choice. And the first time I went there, I wasn't listening to it. It was not because I wasn't listening to it. But it was arranged to be that way, and when I had the headphones come on, there wasn't any sound coming through. I was like, whatever, I'm going to give it a bash anyway. And one time I did this with a CSCS card without the reading part of it. However, someone else had read every single question you can imagine to me, and I memorized every single thing that they had said. Do you remember that? I memorized what they had said. And then it sort of came out in this one. So I got two different... But don't underestimate how long it took for that learning to go in. It was a lot. It was massive. Gee me, that was an incredible amount to do, and life got put on hold for a little while while I was going through that. So it took all of my attention, literally, to try and get this, and constantly. Anyway, so one in the driving lesson, I'm listening, and one I'm not listening in. And I failed the one I wasn't listening in, and the one that I was listening in, where I could hear it, I passed. And the one that I didn't, not so. It was terrible. So, yeah, do with that what you will, but that is. Oof. So I shone in that, I guess, in that aspect. So, AI is massively a tool that can be used in such the most best way possible. Yeah, it can be used really well, and it can help a lot of individuals. And then I wonder if we can just push the envelope on that a little bit more, just sort of push it a little bit more, and then yeah, man, that'd be a lot of opinions going around then, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
lots of entertainment. And I think this would be good for Google or YouTube. This would be good for Facebook or an area of theories and different stuff like that, where it just sort of neatens the edges. It's not doing anything for you in a way. It's sort of polishing the stone, so to speak. Mm. You presented them with a quartz that was a bit rough around the edges, right?
Yeah.
And all AI is doing is polishing and rounding it. That's all. It's just taking what you already give it and it's just making it smooth and shiny. I think. Yeah, that's it. That's where I'm leaving that. Brilliant. Beautiful. Absolutely brilliant.